So good evening again. We are back to the Spirits book. Let me share the screen here. So we are talking about the Spirits hierarchy, and we discussed last week that basically, according to the Spirit's information to us, there are three main categories. Remember, these categories are, are fluid, are not to be put into boxes, as we've mentioned, and all the subcategories we're going to study today, they mix with one another. When Kardec wrote this, he was thinking about communications from the spirits, how we analyze the spirits that are communicating. Of course, we can relate to ourselves as incarnated individuals, but a lot of the things that we read here makes sense when we are analyzing communications received from spirits and what type of spirits communicate. So basically, there are three categories according to the spirits in the spirit hierarchy. The first one is the perfect spirit, the pure spirits, spirit that reached perfection and no longer needs to reincarnate. Second order is
okay. I'm in the meeting now.
Is in the middle spirit in the middle way, the second order, which is the good spirit. These spirits, the spiritual side prevails over matter already. They are more focused on the spiritual evolution of their fellow beings, and good prevails over evil. There are very few traces of imperfections, but there are still imperfect spirits that still need to evolve, still need to go through the challenges of reincarnations. And then we have the third order, the imperfect spirits, that we read the first part, this beginning of it, where matter prevails over the spirit. I'm going to ask Philip to read again. We read the beginning, but I'm going to ask Philip to read again, and then the first subcategory. So we cover what we read last week, but it's important as we go into the divisions that we have the basis for it, okay? All right, Philip.
101, General Characteristics. Matter has a predominant influence over the spirit. The spirit has a propensity to do wrong and is marked by ignorance, pride, selfishness, and all the related vile passions. They intuitively realize the existence of God, but they do not understand God. They are not all entirely bad. Many of these spirits are more frivolous, lacking reasoning power, and love mischief rather than being downright malicious. Some do neither good nor bad, but they do not do good is a glaring indication of their subservience. In contrast, others take immense pleasure in doing wrong and are thrilled when they discover an opportunity to do wrong. A certain amount of intelligence is often associated with malice and the love of mischief in these spirits. However, regardless of their intellectual development, their ideas lack elevation and their sentiments are inferior overall. Their knowledge of the spirit world is narrow, and what they do know is muddled with the prejudices of the physical life. They give false and incomplete notions of the spirit world, but an intent observer may always find the validation of great truths proclaimed by higher spirits, no matter how imperfect their communication may be. Their language reveals their character. Every spirit who betrays malicious intentions may be ranked in the third order. Every bad thought suggested to our minds comes from a spirit of this order. The happiness enjoyed by good spirits causes everlasting torment on the spirits of the third order. It stems from the anguish produced by envy and jealousy. They retain the memory and perception of physical suffering, and this impression is often more painful than reality. They suffer both from the misfortunes they have themselves endured and those that they have caused to others. As this torture persists for a very long time, they feel that they are destined to suffer for eternity. God allows them to believe in this eternal suffering as a form of atonement. They may be further divided into 5 main classes. Shall I continue?
Yes, please.
102, 10th class, impure spirits. These spirits are inclined to wrongdoing and make it the center of their attention. As spirits, they give false and devious advice, cause conflict and suspicion, and don every mask possible to more effectively deceive humans. They torment weak people who yield to their suggestions and take great joy in delaying their advancement and causing them to fail in the trials of corporal life. These spirits are recognized easily by the language they use while communicating. Vulgar or trivial language, whether employed by spirits or human beings, is always an indication of moral and at times intellectual inferiority. Their communications reveal the immorality of their inclinations. Try all they might to influence us by speaking in a thoughtful manner, they are unable to keep up the charade and eventually betray their true nature. Some people designate them as malevolent divinities, while others call them demons, evil geniuses, or bad spirits. The human beings embodying such spirits are addicted to all the vices of debasing passions, sensuality, cruelty, deceit, hypocrisy, greed, and avarice. They commit heinous acts solely for the sake of doing evil without having any specific motive, and as they hate all that is good, they generally target honest victims. They are a plague upon humanity, regardless of their social standing, and the mask of civilization is not enough to hide their ignorance and depravity.
Okay, thanks. So this, first we spoke about the imperfect spirits, right? And the basic is that matter predominates over the spiritual side. They think about themselves first. They have, even when they have impulses of doing good is it's not something that it's already in their nature. So they will struggle with the moral side of the evolution. Some of them may be more evolved on the intellectual side, but it's on the moral side that we see the spirits in this category. Now, it's important here to remember that Kardec is talking to us in the sense of spirits communicating. So when we talk here about their knowledge of the spirit world, when they bring their knowledge, it's a incomplete knowledge, and we see a lot of these when we have the spirits that come to our medium mythic meetings, when they give their vision of the spiritual world, which is very limited, very incomplete. Now, we discussed a little bit all of this last week, so we're going to go directly now into the classes, right? So the spirits tell us that they may be further divided into 5 main classes. Now, remember, this is not classes that we go from one to another as we evolve. These are just general divisions of the type of spirits that communicate and the type of spirits that we incarnate beings are. Now, this first one, we can see clearly that this is the lowest level of spirits, because these are the spirits that are focusing on harming others, have no interest in doing good, except for their loved ones, because everyone has their loved ones. But they are trying to take advantage of in every way possible for themselves, not interested in being of assistance. So when they communicate, their language is vulgar. We hear mediums talking about having to filter the language that they want to communicate in our meetings, that they want to say words that the mediums have to control, otherwise it'll be very vulgar language. And they demonstrate no intention of being useful to anyone, and even to themselves. They don't, when we try to talk to them about the opportunity to repair, they think they are doing the right thing. They think there is no other option. And when incarnate, as Kardec says here, the human beings embodying such spirits are all that are succumb to all vices, cruelty, deceit, hypocrisy, sensuality, greed, avarice. We all know the people that are committing evils in this world, and again, it's important that I repeat here what I have said last week. We here have gone beyond this category. Nobody that is here interested in studying and learning more about their spiritual nature, even if we have a lot of these imperfections, or we can manifest those imperfections, we have first a recognition of these imperfections, and second, a desire to overcome them. These spirits / incarnated beings have no desire of improving. They are going to improve only through suffering. They are going to have to face difficulties. And these are the spirits that are being given the last opportunity here on planet Earth, as Earth moves from a world of trials and atonements to a world of regeneration, where good prevails over evil. The spirits that are committed to do evil, to harm others, if they don't improve, they will, because of their own mental vibrations, they will be relegated to a less evolved planet, to a primitive, or to another planet of trials and expiations, like what happened to Earth at the time of the Egyptians, that the 4 great immigrations that came from Capella, that incarnated in Egypt and in Europe, and in where is today Iraq, in the Tigris and Euphrates, and in the Chinese region. So these were all spirits that came from a more evolved planet, constellation in that case, Capella, that was going through an evolution. So the spirits that we can, the type of spirit that we can identify ourselves a little bit will be other categories, not this one, right? Because I sincerely believe that no one here can be classified in this category. No one here in this meeting. If we look outside, people that we see in our world, we can find some of these type of incarnated spirits. Okay. Questions, comments here? Nope. Okay. 9th class.
9th class, frivolous spirits. These spirits are ignorant, mischievous, irrational, and masters of ridicule. They intrude in everything and reply to every question with no regard for the truth. They delight in irritating others, raising false hopes, and misleading people with hoaxes and tricks. The spirits, commonly called goblins, sprites, will-o'-the-wisp, and gnomes belong to this class. They are often utilized as servants by spirits of higher orders. In their communications with people, they are often witty and lighthearted, but extremely superficial. They are quick to pick up on people's quirks and traits, on which they comment sarcastically. They are fond of borrowing the names of respected individuals for sport rather than attempting to genuinely deceive.
So this type of spirits, we probably know more of those when we talk about incarnated beings, right? These are spirits that, they're not very interested in evolving. They're not bad per se. They don't want to do evil many times. They don't have the intention of harming others. But also they are what the name says, frivolous. They don't want to take anything serious. So when they communicate, their communications are sometimes misleading, sometimes shallow. When Kardec says here, they are often utilized as servants by spirits of higher orders, meaning when spirits of higher orders need to act over matter, they may use this type of spirits, the frivolous spirits. There's another category later also. But, their communications are light-hearted, as they say here, sarcastic. And we see those spirits also sometimes coming to our meetings that are very sarcastic and not serious and don't really care for much. And sometimes it's more difficult to deal with this type of spirits because an active spirit doing evil is easier to, once convinced, to become an active spirit doing good than a spirit that is not interested in doing anything, because it's really difficult to make them change their minds. And because they're not particularly suffering much, they are more, in the middle. They are more difficult to convince to change. It's more of a challenge for them to recognize the state they are in. Okay. Any questions, comments here? Oh, okay. Everybody's very quiet today. Let's go. You're on mute, Philip.
8th class, false scholars. These spirits often possess considerable knowledge, but fancy knowing a great deal more than they actually know. Having accomplished a certain degree of progress, their language has a tone of dignity that may easily give a false impression of their enlightenment. In truth, their ideas are generally nothing more than the reflection of the preconceptions and flawed reasoning of their human life. Their statements are a combination of truths and the most absurd errors, overwhelmed by arrogance, pride, jealousy, and stubbornness from which they have not been able to free themselves.
So this type of spirits are those that many times we receive communications that are that they truly believe what they are writing about or communicating or telling us about. And again, if we compare to incarnate spirits, we know that there are many here that we can call them also false scholars. So there are people that have a certain amount of knowledge, that are able to speak on certain subjects with some authority, but normally think that they know better and think that they are better than everybody else. So these are spirits that, for the lack of humility, they end up propagating a combination of truths and errors, because they are not humble enough to open themselves to learn. So they think that they know everything on whatever subject they choose. So when they give their communications, we'll see these communications in a very very good language many times. But normally what we see is these are long communications. The psychographies are long communications that when you read and reread, you see that it doesn't go very deep. It doesn't really give us much knowledge. Now, again, it's not to say that there is not some truths there, but like Kardec said, it's better to discard 10 truths than to accept one error, right? A statement that it's not very easy to accept, but the danger of an error being disseminated is much more complex than the rejecting of truths, because truths, if they are truly truths, they will prevail, because if the earth goes around the sun, if you at the time they were saying that the sun went around the earth, if you wait, eventually they accepted that the earth goes around the sun. And this is in that example that the truth will always prevail. So if you are in doubt about the veracity of something, we better put aside and wait to see if it's confirmed later, if it's the truth or not. Okay. So again, we're not talking here, a reminder, as one class above the others. It's not an evolution. They are just different classes of spirits that we can find. Of course, the 10th class is the lowest one, but the difference between the false scholars and the frivolous is just a matter of how they present themselves and what they. The frivolous are not interested in being scholars, and the false scholars are interested in showing their knowledge without having complete knowledge on what they're doing. Okay. Comments, questions?
Okay.
No? Yeah, it's Carol.
Thank you, John. Do you think that the impure spirits, being the lowest class, do you think there is some sort of a possible intervention where they're given a warning or the heads up, like, look, you better try to narrow your pathway, maybe try to improve, or is it just the way it is? They're there, that's it, and they have to deal with it. Thank you.
You know, we have our guardian angel, our spiritual benefactors, always with us, right? And according to the level of evolution, you know, our protecting spirits will try to advise us in the best possible way to help us move forward, to help us overcome our challenges. Of course, we have free will; they are not going to impose. So the opportunity of and advices are always there. In the spiritual world before our incarnation, if possible, if we are open to that, we will have these discussions with our guardian angels. But and we, as a third, still as imperfect spirits, there are plenty of us that have the opportunity of discuss our incarnation plan, like Julio doesn't like to say. But spirits, you know, the lower level of spirits, they are not even open to listen or to discuss. So they will have to suffer, to face the challenges that will cause them to struggle a lot for them to open themselves to receive the assistance. As we become more evolved and more open to our spiritual nature, we will be more open also to the influence and assistance of the spiritual benefactors that are always available to us.
Thank you, John.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, now the next one is the vast majority.
Seventh class, neutral spirits. These spirits are neither good enough to do right nor bad enough to do wrong. They sometimes are inclined to one, sometimes to the other, and are equal to humankind in terms of both integrity and intelligence. They are strongly attached to the things of this world and greatly miss all their material satisfactions.
So here you'll find the vast majority of spirits on Earth and around this planet. These are spirits that, you know, by themselves, they're not going to try to do it right. But by themselves, they won't do it anything evil also. They just go with the flow, right? So when I was watching a lecture about the planetary transition, the person that was giving the lecture, he was telling that on this transition to a new planet of regeneration, this type of spirits will stay here because they just need proper guidance. They're not evil per se. They just, you know, if they are misguided, they will do bad things because they are following others. But and in the spiritual world, when we go to find the spirits in the lower zones, many of these neutral spirits are found there because that's, you know, they connect with the leaders of the lower zones and follow their orders without understanding that there are better opportunities for them. So these are spirits that are still very attached to matter. Kardec says here they greatly miss all their material satisfactions when they are in the spiritual world. So they are the ones that attach themselves to incarnate beings, incarnate spirits, to feel what they are missing in terms of the vices, in terms of the imperfections of us here. So, you know, this is the vast majority, really. These are spirits that are not one way or the other, but with the right guidance and the right direction can become, spirits interested in their own evolution, both moral and intellectual. So these are not, these are, I see in the class of imperfect spirits are the ones that are closer to having an opportunity to, with some effort, to move to the second order as good spirits. Okay, with of course many reincarnations, but they already have. It's just a matter of giving them the right direction. Okay. Anything else? Oh. Okay, this last class on the imperfect spirits.
Sixth class, boisterous and disruptive spirits. Strictly speaking, these spirits do not form a clear-cut category based on their personal qualities. They may even belong to any of the third-order classes. They often reveal themselves by producing of phenomena perceptible to people, such as knocking, the movement and abnormal displacement of inert bodies, rustling the air, and other similar occurrences. They appear to be attached to matter more than any other type of spirit, and are the principal agents in determining changes in the physical elements, air, water, fire, or in the entrails of the earth. Whenever these phenomena present a deliberate or intelligent nature, a random physical cause should never be assumed. All spirits can produce physical phenomena, but elevated spirits usually leave them to the devices of lower spirits, who are more suitable to act upon matter than intelligent matters. When higher spirits deem that manifestations of this nature of some noble use, they employ subordinate spirits as their aids.
Okay, so first, this is a completely different class of spirits. We're not talking about the higher class of the imperfect spirits, and nothing like that. These are spirits that are used for everything related to matter, including physical phenomena, by the superior spirits when needed. And also, they are the principal agents in the changes in the physical elements. Meaning, when we talk about spirits responsible for everything in this planet, we have from Jesus, the governor of this planet, to all his those that work directly with him, and you start going lower and lower and lower until you get to the spirits that act for the physical transformations of Earth. There are spirits involved in everything that happens in this planet, and these are the type of spirits that are used by higher spirits for these changes in the physical elements of Earth, right? According to the divine law, of course. The physical phenomena that we see, especially in the beginning of the spiritist movement, are produced by these spirits. Sometimes under the direction of more evolved spirits, sometimes by their own abilities to do so, or their desire to cause disturbances. So you see this type of spirits, when you talk about haunted houses, you see this type of spirits there. When you talk about the poltergeists, it's also this type of spirits that are involved. So these are spirits that are very involved with the physical phenomena that occur here on Earth. Again, that's not a class that we can talk about incarnated beings, because we don't have it. This is really a class talking about spirits involved in the material phenomena that happens here on earth and material and a physical manifestation. Okay.
I have a question.
So, Paco.
Yeah, this is kind of a taxonomy, I guess, clear-cut distinctions, but can I look at it in terms of much more kind of a fluid approach to this, actually meaning and specifically that I could be a spirit in the 10th class and then all of a sudden I could be behaving like a spirit in the 8th class. And then I go back to the 9th class and then all of a sudden I'm behaving like a spirit of a 6th class. That's the kind of fluidity I'm asking. Can I look at it in such a way?
Yes, yes, you can. And that's what, I said in the beginning, all these classes, these are not closed boxes that we put ourselves or spirits in boxes.
This is for the sake of analysis. Okay.
Yeah, this is just for analysis, basically for analysis for communications from spirits and some analogy to incarnated beings. Because as we find categories of incarnated beings that go from the pure evil to the almost saints, as they are called here on earth, like a Mother Teresa, and in between you have 1 million categories. So we could, in the beginning, last week we talked about it. Kardec said, each spirit can be its own category because nobody is the same as the others. Nobody is equal to anyone else. So all of these are general classes that we can identify with one or another. We can see spirits that more resemble one or another category, but in truth, if you want to disconsider or you want to consider a spirit that belongs to 3 of these 5 categories, that's perfectly fine also.
Okay, thank you.
When we talk about here, when we are going to enter into the good spirits, then you see more differences in the classes, understanding better the differences. Luis, you have something to say? You open your camera there.
No, I just wanted to share with Paco that I have a similar view of those 5 classes. To me, they look much more like a behavioral classification.
Yeah.
And as such, behavior changes. So
exactly, it's like Joel said, it's like a taxonomy that doesn't have to be like fixated. Exactly.
And I see that as a tentative by Kardec to classify by behavior the spirits that were communicating. Exactly. It's valid, but it's not clear cut, and it's not how can I say, a more characteristic classification. It's behavioral.
Yeah.
I like that behavior. Yes, makes sense. Yeah, and you see, when we talk about the good spirits, then there is a more of a clear difference. But because you see, when good spirits, where they are acting on good, you see, the distinctions become more clear. Still, same case as here, we cannot put them in boxes, but you'll see that it makes more sense. Okay.
Second order good spirits, general characteristics. These spirits prevail over matter and desire excellence. Their qualities and power to do good match their degree of perfection. While some possess scientific knowledge, others have acquired wisdom and charity. The more advanced spirits combine intelligence with moral superiority. Not yet completely dematerialized, they preserve the traces of their physical existence, which vary greatly according to their rank. These traces are seen either in their method of expression, practices, or even in the quirks and habits still retained by them. If it were not for these weaknesses and imperfections, they would be able to be pure spirits. They understand God and infinity and share the happiness of higher spirits. Doing good and preventing malevolence truly inspires them and makes them happy. Envy, regret, and all the bad passions that torment imperfect spirits have no place in their hearts of good spirits. The love that unites them is an overwhelming source of happiness. Nevertheless, they still have trials to undergo to reach absolute perfection. As spirits, they inspire good thoughts, turn people away from the path of wickedness, protect those whose actions make them worthy of their assistance, and neutralize the influence of lower spirits on the minds of those who do not willingly yield to the sinful guidance of the latter. The human beings that these spirits reincarnate into are good and compassionate towards others. They are motivated neither by pride, selfishness, nor ambition. They feel neither hatred, resentment, envy, nor jealousy, and do good purely for the sake of doing good. Good, protective, and benevolent spirits belong to this order. During periods of ignorance and superstition, people worship them as beneficent deities. They may be divided into 4 main groups.
Okay. So in one paragraph here, Kardec tells why we can't put ourselves in this second order yet, right? Because the spirits reincarnate are good and compassionate towards others, motivated neither by pride, selfishness, nor ambition. They feel neither hatred, resentment, envy, nor jealousy, and they do good purely for the sake of doing good. If anyone here is like that, please raise your hand. So good spirits are the ones where the spiritual side prevails over matter. This first phrase here, I had to read twice, and then I went to the Portuguese because I don't know really if it makes sense in English, Paco and Philip. Because these spirits prevail. The original says that the spiritual side prevails over the material side. In Portuguese, it makes sense. In English, I'm not sure it does. What do you think?
The spirits prevail over matter and desire excellence.
Because it's not the spirits; it's the spiritual side that prevails.
Exactly.
You know, they're more into. They're not attached to matter in the sense that we
So,
are.
you know, no, you're correct in your observation, because it should be said these spirits seems to carry with it a much more spiritual inclination of matter. That's how it is. Yeah, because you're talking about spirits and spiritual inclinations. You know.
Yeah, Luis.
I'm reading the French original, and I believe the better translation might be prevalence of the spirit over the matter, or prevalence of spirit over matter.
Yeah, and the
but
Portuguese.
But when you talk about
talk
about spirits here, you're talking about entities.
Yeah.
You're not talking about spiritual life. Spirits it's an entity. It's a being.
Yeah. In Portuguese,
Okay, so,
when we talk about spiritu sobre materia, it makes sense. In English, it doesn't.
So when you're talking spirits whose makeup is the spiritual makeup is greater or prevails over matter. But remember, when you say spirits here, you're talking about a being, an entity.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, I know what
Very
Luis
good.
is saying because I didn't pick it up.
I didn't pick it up. Very good, Joel. Very good language. Very good. That's
Yeah.
true.
I'll make sure that this on the next edition we rephrase this.
Yes.
So
I want to
this
think about that second one. Yeah, very good, very good.
Okay.
Now I have a question.
Sure.
The line that follows here, I'm kind of put a question mark. Not yet completely dematerialized.
Yeah, in
What
the
do
sense is the sense that it still have some attachment to matter.
Oh, okay, okay. You see exactly.
Yeah, you remember that famous story that Elmo told us a couple of times about Francisco Xavier's friend that was an evolved spirit, and one day he was walking back home and he sees this spirit sitting on the lounging chair in front of the house that he used to live.
Yeah.
And Chico asks him, "What are you doing here? You're much more. You should be in a much more elevated place. What are you doing back to your old home?" And he said, I don't have any attachments to the physical world anymore. I'm really working in a more elevated place, but I still miss my chair. So whenever I get tired, I come here and sit on my old chair. So not completely dematerialized, even a more evolved spirit, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's the attachment. Because
Yeah.
it seems to me when you say dematerialized, I'm talking about the being itself, the spirit itself. I said, what happened to that very spirit or whatever? So, okay, no, now that you explain what you're saying, it's okay. But I don't know if it's expressed correctly there, though.
Okay. Yeah. And again, I think it was translated like it was in the French and in the Portuguese version, and maybe the English. It's not the best way to express
exactly.
it in
No,
English.
very good. Yes.
Yeah. But it means that they still have some attachments to the physical world. Yeah. You think of if you want to talk about examples here. So these are when they incarnate. These are spirits that work for the benefit of others. Don't think about themselves. Think about others first. You talk about a Mother Teresa, right? And when you read her biography, you see that she still has some imperfections. She was rough sometimes. She was difficult to deal with.
I heard, yeah.
But in the sense that she wanted to help others her way. And sometimes other people way interfere with her way of doing it. But it's clearly a more evolved spirit, a spirit in this order, a good spirit, because the main focus is helping others, is not themselves. So the imperfections they are still there a little, but they don't manifest like less evolved spirits in a prevalent way or in the main way they act. There are very few that we have incarnated on Earth, and we know some examples, right? Of course, Mother Teresa or Francisco Xavier, but also some spirits that bring us knowledge and intellectual involvement, and again, the intellectual involvement for the good that helps humankind progresses. We can find some of this in the good spirits. So these are spirits, when they communicate, they are spirits that are always trying to help. They are spirits that are always trying to guide the humankind or whoever they are trying to help. They are not perfect spirits, otherwise they will be classified in as pure spirits. They are not there, so they still need to reincarnate, but they don't have any evil thoughts or desire to do evil or desire to yield to their imperfections. They still have them, they are aware, and they are very humble in general. A characteristic of a good spirit is that they will never recognize that they are. When people used to speak with Francisco Xavier and ask him, there's the famous story that someone asked him, a lady came to him and said that in her incarnation, previous incarnation, she was the queen of somewhere, and asked Chico, who are you? And he said, I was the flea on the top of that dog. And he was sincere, right? He was, it's humbleness, very sincere humbleness. It's not affected humbleness as we see many people. So these spirits, when they are working with us, they inspire good thoughts. They try to deviate us from the wrong path. They try to inspire. So, in the past, when we as Kardec says here, in the past we used to worship them as angels or gods or things like that, because these were more evolved spirits. So I have a question here. Is spirits in a regeneration world are spirits of disorder? The thing is, in a world of regeneration, you have a mix. Nowadays, here on a world of trials and atonements, these are the exceptions. We have very few of those. When you move to a world of regeneration, you already have many more of these good spirits. But few, you have a lot of third order spirits. But these are third order spirits that are in the process of transformation, of transforming themselves. They are working hard to change themselves. So, Divaldo once said that you only need 500 good spirits to incarnate on Earth at the same time to completely change the Earth. So, don't need many. Right? It's just you have, sorry?
How many did you say?
500.
500.
Because 500 in key places in countries and in the direction of the main things of this world will change the world, right? Because of the majority of us are neutral spirits that will follow their leads. Okay. Okay.
Fifth class, benevolent spirits. These spirits shine in their sense of kindness. They take pleasure in helping and protecting people. Their knowledge is somewhat narrow, and although they have progressed in the moral sense, they are lacking in intelligence.
You see, when we talk about the spirits that are evolved intellectually but are not evolved morally, they fall in the class of imperfect spirits. But spirits that are morally evolved but still lacking in intelligence are already good spirits, because the moral evolution is the hardest one, and it's the one that really makes the difference. So, let's go back to Mother Teresa. She is clear a benevolent spirit, but she has the intelligence of a scholar spirit. Maybe not. But what we see in her is the moral side, right? So we can think of these benevolent spirits as spirits that have made the hard task of evolving on the intellect, on the moral side, and now they will need eventually to evolve in the intellectual side, which is the easiest one, because again, it's only accumulating knowledge that you evolve on the intelligence, right? So these are the benevolent spirits, and the next one is the other way around.
Fourth class, scholarly spirits. These spirits are particularly marked by the vast extent of their knowledge. They are more interested in scientific research, for which they have a greater aptitude than moral issues. Their scientific studies are always focused on practical utility and are entirely free of the passions commonly possessed by imperfect spirits.
So the difference between these and the pseudo scholars is that these are spirits that really have knowledge and use their knowledge to help humanity progress. They are more interested in the intellectual evolution, but they also have some moral evolvement because they are free of the passions that are possessed by imperfect spirits. So even if their moral side is not as advanced as the benevolent spirits, they already have enough moral evolvement to be included as in the good spirits category that that are spirits that are more interested in helping others to progress. So, and then when you unite those two, you come to the third class.
Wise spirits. These spirits are set apart by their extremely elevated moral qualities. Not yet possessing unlimited knowledge, they have an intellectual capacity that enables them to judge people and things correctly.
So when you have a benevolent spirit that evolves intellectually, or a scholarly spirit that evolves morally, they become wise spirits. The real term here is wise. They don't have unlimited knowledge. Unlimited knowledge is perfect spirits, but they have an intellectual capacity that enables them to judge people and things correctly, and they have elevated moral qualities. So these are wise spirits. You can think of St. Francis of Assisi as one of the examples of a wise spirit, for example. And maybe some of the apostles of Jesus now, Paul, of course, as he went through his transformation and continue his journey, you can classify him as a wise spirit also. Okay, let's just finish this before we leave the pure spirits for next week.
Second class, superior spirits. These spirits exemplify scientific knowledge, wisdom, and goodness. Their language only displays benevolence, and it is always dignified and elevated, oftentimes sublime. Their superiority makes them the most likely to be motivated to share the most honest ideas with respect to the invisible world with human beings within the limits of the knowledge permitted to us. They willingly communicate with those who honestly seek truth and with those who have freed themselves enough from the shackles of materialism to be capable of understanding it. They dismiss those whose inquiries are prompted only by curiosity and who veer from the path of righteousness in pursuit of material temptations. Under exceptional circumstances, they may incarnate on earth to accomplish a mission of advancement or development, and they show us the ideal perfection to which we can hope to attain on earth.
So, as the wise spirits evolve even more, but still are not perfect spirits, they are called superior spirits because they have wisdom, knowledge, and goodness all combined. Again, these ones is very difficult to even give an example here on earth because they say that they may incarnate on earth to accomplish a mission of advancement or development. Jesus is a pure spirit, perfect spirit, so it doesn't fall into the category. And the other evolved spirits, I would think of a Bezerra de Menezes as a superior spirit, but I'm not absolutely sure. For those who doesn't know him, one of the main spirits that incarnate in Brazil in the beginning of Spirit is president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, and the responsible for many of the Spiritist movement in Brazil as a spiritual guide of Spiritism in Brazil. Daniela.
Can I?
Daniela had a question, then I'll give it up.
I always feel like I have a question when the time is up. That's when my brain starts catching up. So is too soon to say that because of the transition Earth is starting to go through to become a world of regeneration? Is that too soon to say that children are from these classes are being born already, or no, not yet? It's too soon, like more of this kind of spirits being born?
I like that question.
Divaldo says that some of these children are incarnating, yes, right? Of course, the proud parents would like to think that their children are all in this category, and that's not really true. But we can, if we look carefully, we are going to see some spirits of young children that show some signs of this moral and intellectual evolution. I'm not sure if superior spirits, but without a doubt, benevolent spirits and scholarly spirits are reincarnating on Earth to help Earth on this transition. If you think that Emmanuel is reincarnated on Earth, Emmanuel is definitely a spirit that is in some of this order, right? No, I don't know exactly where. So yes, they are, but what the so-called indigo children or crystal children, the denominations they give for these children. Divaldo, I have a book about it, actually.
Yeah. So these would be the kids.
Yes, these will be the kids. But we have to be very careful, right? Because
yeah, no, my follow-up question or comment would be like, because the parents are not in this category, so we could be actually damaging or influencing, undoing what was done, like as imperfect spirits. So that's why I'm asking, like, maybe it's too soon. So maybe it needs a little bit, 1 or 2 generations with more.
Actually, I think that every time a new generation comes, they are more evolved than their parents, right? So I think I don't think that's a problem, because they will be able to overcome the limitations of their parents to shine. You go back to Francisco Xavier, right? He comes from a very troubled family, right? Mother died when he was 4. His stepmother beat him, poked him with a knife, with a fork, and he struggled a lot. And he became who he were. Of course, special spirit, yes, but we're talking about the same, right? If these spirits already have the ability and the knowledge and the moral evolution, they are. The influence of their parents is going to be limited. The parents are there to protect them more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Paco?
No. That was a very good question. No, I was thinking in terms of superior spirits, like, I guess, Buddha, Lao Tzu.
Yeah, exactly. Confucius,
exactly.
Yes. So some of these, Moses probably.
Moses could be a been one, yeah.
Yeah, some of these examples, yes. But again, it's our. We're trying to put in boxes, and we have to be careful not to put in boxes. Right?
No, but we made the caveat at the beginning that remember, this is a taxonomy, okay? But we have to do, it's fluid. So.
Okay, so we went over a little bit, but okay. So reminders for this weekend. On Saturday, we have a very good talk with our friend Edward Christie that was with us for some time, right? And he's part of the Inner Enlightenment Spirited Society. He's going to talk about the logic of reincarnation. Edward's lectures are always very well prepared. Always, he prepared himself for 6 months to give each lecture. So you have to invite him with 6 months in advance, because he really focus on his lecture. So I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting one. So this Saturday at 11 a.m. Okay. Our symposium is almost here, right? So the 15th Spiritist Symposium, it's going to happen on June 5th and June 6th from 2 to 5,
2 to
5:30, 2 to 5:30. And we are going to have Jussara on the first day, opening with mediums and mediumships, the beginning. This is on Saturday. Then we'll have a round table about mediums and mediumship abilities and responsibilities, and then a Q&A with all 4 speakers. Then on Sunday, we have a lecture, starts with a lecture by Kirsten de Mello, How to be a Medium in Current Days. Then we have a round table called Spiritism, Ask Me Anything, which is similar to our Spiritism Q&A that we have Sundays, and we have this Sunday, that, it will be moderated by Edward Christie, and I'll be there, part of it. Then we have a youth panel at 4 p.m. with the youth speakers, 3 youth speakers and Ligia. And then we have visualization for world peace and health to close the symposium, okay? This is June 5th and June 6th from 2 to 5:30 p.m. You're all invited. Again, mediums and mediumship. So as I mentioned before, this Sunday, we're going to have our Q&A. It's the 4th Sunday of the month. And then next Sunday, which is still in May, we're going to study liberation, because we are not going to have our meeting on the 1st Sunday of June because of the symposium, okay? Yesterday, we started our book club. We had 3 people participating on it. We need more. Next week, we're going to discuss chapters 4, 5, and 6 of the book And Life Goes On with Daniela.
It was very good. It was great.
Yeah. Yes, Renata and Daniela and Sue were in the discussions. And,
it's actually nice that it was only 3 people, so don't advertise it. Right, Daniela? It was like we were able to really have a conversation about it.
That's selfish. No, participate.
I know, right? Talk
More
about
people.
talk about evolving.
All right. Okay, Carol, can you do our final prayer, please?
Sure. Thank you, John, and everyone. Infinite Creator and Supreme Intelligence, we give thanks that we are together this evening for our studies of the Spirits book. We are grateful for the connectivity, for the unity, and for sharing the teachings that we have received tonight. We are grateful to know a little bit more specifics about spiritual hierarchy, meaning the different so-called categories of spirits: 3rd order spirits, imperfect spirits, 2nd order spirits, good spirits, and each gives a bit more definitive information about those specifics. May we continue next week to be together as we have this week, and may we share our thoughts as we are able to do so with our group. We give thanks to our spiritual benefactors, the good spirits, the mentors, the helpers, the healers, the guardian angels who are assisting us, bringing us inspiration, goodness, grace, light. And we give thanks that we are able to share this right now. As we continue throughout the week, may we be mindful of doing our prayers, our studies, keeping our thoughts even keel, keeping mindfulness part of our life, May we grow together as a group as well as individually. We give thanks for the love and light and peace of Christ that is surrounding us, coming through us each day. And may we share this with our family, friends, and loved ones who may be receptive to the teachings. We humbly ask now to continue with goodness in our hearts, with service, with selflessness, moving away from the constrictions of not feeling so good about ourselves, perhaps, or not feeling so good about what our activities have been. But may we bring love into our hearts each day, knowing that that will also help us to be more enlightened and a better energy in our world. May we close now and humbly ask for the love and light of peace of Christ to be within us. And may we go forth to family, friends, and loved ones right now. We ask to remain beacons of light and go forth now in peace. So be it.